Earlier this year, Instagram released a new feature called Trial Reels, which allows you to post reels that aren't shown to your followers, but instead are shown to a new audience on the Reels feed. This feature opens up a ton of new opportunity when it comes to creating content and building your audience on your theme page. So in this video, I'm gonna dive deep into how you can use this feature and just everything you're gonna need to know about it. That way you could use Trial Reels to your advantage and grow your theme page a lot quicker and a lot more effectively. And also, this is a feature that not too many people are talking about or even know about. So by learning and applying what I'm about to go over in this video gives you a huge competitive advantage over other creators on Instagram. And real quick, for those who may not know me yet, my name is Pasha. I'm 21 years old. I'm from California, and I've been growing, monetizing, and automating faceless Instagram theme pages for the past 3 years now. And I've also helped over 100 others do the same. And on the screen, you can see my personal brand on Instagram. You guys can take a look if you want. I post some pretty valuable stuff on there. But without further ado, without wasting any time, let's get straight into it. All right, so first and foremost, let's go over how Trial Reels even work in the first place, okay? So here's the official description from Meta, which is Instagram's parent company. So Meta says, try out content with a new audience using Trial Reels. Show a trial reel to non-followers to get early feedback on whether your content resonates. You'll see key insights within 24 hours after sharing so you can understand how your trial reel is performing. Although it takes around, I would say, from my perspective, 3 days to even a week to fully understand how the reel is performing rather than just 24 hours. But here it's saying 24 hours until you gain access to the insights, okay? And then also, trial reels don't appear on your profile. Some followers may still see your trial reels, like when someone shares it with them. So essentially what this is saying here is, by nature, when you post a trial reel, your followers won't see them. But for example, in some odd circumstance that someone else sees the video, like a non-follower of yours, and then sends it to one of your followers, then in that case, they will be able to see it, okay? So by nature, they won't be able to see it, but in circumstances like this, then of course they could see it. And also, it's important to know that when you post a trial reel, it's sort of just running on the back end, right? So if you like click on a profile, you'll see their feed post, you'll see their reels, you'll see their like tag posts, but then you won't see the trial reels, right? Because only the owner of the account will be able to sort of see and manage the trial reels. Although the owner of the account does have the option later on to move the trial reel and post it onto the main feed, which by then the followers would be able to see it, okay? So that's sort of how it works. You know, if this is a new concept to you or a new topic, like it might seem confusing, but you know, I promise this is all gonna make sense by the end of the video, all right? So here's how you could actually find the feature and how to post a trial reel, right? So essentially when you go to post a regular reel, like on the last page that you get to before you officially click share and it like posts, looks like this. Like, you know, you have, you know, for example, there would be the music tab above here and then the audience, you know, more options. And then also, this is the new feature. This is called trial, right? And you have the option to toggle this on. So if you toggle this on and then share it, then it'll be posted as a trial reel, right? Whereas if you keep it off and post it, then it's just a regular reel. And also, bear in mind, guys, this is a feature that is not available to every single account yet, all right? It's available to most accounts. You know, most of the people that I'm working with do have access to this feature, including myself across my pages. Although I've heard from others that they don't have access to it yet, all right? And that's just how Instagram is. You know, they're sort of inconsistent when they roll out new features. You know, some people don't have access to broadcast channels or being able to pin their own comments or things like this. So that's just something to keep in mind. But the main criteria, which I'll go over later, is that you have a creator or a business account and also over 1,000 followers, okay? So if you have a creator and a business account and you have over 1,000 followers, most likely you're gonna be able to see the feature and use it to your advantage, all right? Although for whatever reason, if you don't see it yet, it's just Instagram being inconsistent, and you'll most likely see the feature and get it updated onto your account later on, right? Because they might still be in the testing phase, or they are still in the testing phase, okay? But this is where you find it, like on that last page before you officially like share the reel to your followers. You know, if you click this, then it'll be posted as a trial reel, okay? So now that you understand what trial reels are and how they work, now let's go over why they're even important in the first place, right? Why is this a feature? Why should we even be paying attention to this feature? So first up, it allows you to experiment and split test to see what performs best, okay? This way you could analyze the results of reels to make data-driven decisions rather than having to guess or make emotional decisions, right? Because at the end of the day, guys, like when you're able to split test and you're able to look at the data and see what's working and what's not working, then you're able to make better, more educated, more data-driven decisions, which will allow you to effectively grow your page faster and more effectively, okay? Whereas if you just like, post some things and, you're not really looking at the data, you're not looking specifically to see what works and what's not working, and you're kind of just like shooting in the dark, let's say, then, there's no, let's say, logic to that. You're not making any data-driven decisions. Whereas if you do trial reels, for example, and you test and experiment with different content in the trial reel section, you're able to look at the data, compare it with each other, compare it to the data of, and like, let's say the views or the likes and engagement, that's what I mean by data, of even like your regular reels, and it allows you to better sort of see what's working and what's not working. And when you're able to see what's working and what's not working, you could double down on what's working better for you. And that's how you really start to like get some momentum and that snowball effect on your page by sort of doubling down on what's specifically working for you, right? Rather than just continuing to do something that's not working, right? That's why you hear a lot of people, or maybe you even watching this, you might be consistent, right? Showing up, posting for weeks, even months, and you're not getting the results, right? And that's not because you're not being consistent, because you are, but maybe you're consistently doing the wrong things and you're not looking at your data and you're not split testing and you're not seeing what's working and what's not working and not doubling down on what is working, right? So this just allows you to more effectively split test and experiment and see what is working. That way you can double down on it, okay? And also it allows you to gain more reach and followers without much additional effort, okay? So I'm gonna go over some specific strategies with you guys here in a moment that allows you to benefit from trial reels and just experimenting and testing different content, whether it's content you've already created in the past or new content that you are making. And that allows you to essentially maximize your reach and maximize the amount of followers that you're able to get. And I'm gonna explain exactly how you can do that in just a second here, okay? So now we'll do the strategy breakdown, all right? So I got 3 strategies here for you guys on how you can apply trial reels and how you can use it to your advantage to, like I said right here, maximize your reach and your followers, okay? So the first strategy, which is like the easiest strategy, which literally doesn't require you to pretty much do any work, is to simply repost past top performers onto trial reels, all right? So in order to do this, simply look through your highest performing reels over the past 6 months, put them all into your drafts, right? That feature on Instagram that allows you to, like, let's say, get it ready to post without officially posting it, and then upload 1 to 3 of these per day, depending on how many you have, of course, right? This is gonna allow you to gain extra followers from content you've already created for minimal effort, all right? You've already created this content in the past, right? It's created. You don't have to spend more time and energy creating a new piece of content. And all you're gonna do is take these high-performing pieces of content that Instagram has already pretty much given you proof performs well and has gone viral for you, and then you're just putting it back into trial reels, right? Because again, this is gonna allow you to show this high-performing piece of content of yours that your followers liked to a new audience, right? This is gonna allow you to bring new followers onto your page, and even gives it the potential of going more viral again, or going viral again, I mean, right? Because you see sometimes pages, they like get a viral reel and then they continue to like post that viral reel like every single week on their page. And although I've seen that be effective, it's not as effective because your followers who have already seen that reel, when they see it again, they're just gonna scroll off, right? And that affects like the watch time and the engagement of that specific reel, which is why it's tough for it to perform as well again. Whereas if you post it into a trial reel, then none of your existing followers are gonna see that reel that's already gone viral, right? Only a new audience. And considering you already have the proof of concept that that reel has gone viral for you once, by showing it to a new audience who hasn't seen it before, there's a high likelihood of it going viral again. And of course, by no means is it gonna go viral like every single time, although it does have the potential to. But even if you get like, decent reach with it, or just average views or even above average views, it allows you to get more reach and more followers without any additional effort, right? Because you've already created the reel. And I haven't mentioned this yet, guys, but you can get followers from trial reels. Like, even though your existing, audience or followers aren't seeing it, it is going to a new audience in the Reels feed. So, if they see it and they like your page and they like the content, they could follow you. So this is a way that you could just gain followers without having to do any extra work or creating extra content, all right? So if you have 1 to 3 of these running on the back end, like on a daily basis, and let's just say you're uploading like 2 reels a day, regularly, if you also get 2 trial reels a day from content you've already created running in the back end, it's like the equivalent of posting 4 reels per day rather than 2 reels per day. So instead of getting the amount of reach you would get instead of getting the amount of reach and followers you'd get from 2 reels, you're getting the amount of reach and followers from 4 reels instead, okay? So yeah, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. But now we could go over a practical example just to show you like the application of this, even though it's quite straightforward. But let's just go up on here. Let me get out of this. All right, so I've got this page up on the screen. This is one of my clients. His name is Prince. He recently, just yesterday, actually hit the 100K follower range. He's growing quite decently. And for example, this is something that I've discussed with him, of course. And what I had him do is go ahead and take all of his highest performing reels over the past 6 months. So if you scroll, you'll see like, 4 million, and then pretty much all the ones that are over like 400K. I would say from my perspective for the amount of views he's getting. So like this one, 4.6 million, 7.5 million, 500K, 5.3 million. So he could go for like the next few months and just grab reels with these sorts of numbers, draft them up, and then put them into trial reels, right? Because if he's posting 2 reels per day, like these, or 3, and then he also drafts up these trial reels and is posting an extra 2 or 3 of those per day as well, I mean, that's why he's able to grow so fast. He's gone, I think, 30 or 40,000 followers in the past 30 days. It's crazy. So this is a simple, effective strategy that you guys can apply literally right now. Like you could go to your reels, draft up the highest performing ones over the past few months, and post 1 to 3 of them per day, depending on how many you have, on your trial reels, and just get extra reach and extra followers without pretty much any additional effort, since these videos are already made. Okay. So yeah, it's a pretty crazy strategy, and it works really, really well. So I really, really encourage you guys to give that a try, okay? And that's the first strategy that I wanted to go over with you guys, okay? So now let's go into the second strategy here, which is similar to the first one, but this one is about repurposing past top performers, right? So not directly just reposting the exact same video, but repurposing past top performers. So essentially you're gonna wanna follow the same steps as strategy 1, which is looking through your highest performing content, putting them all into drafts, uploading 1 to 3 per day. But the only difference this time is that you're gonna repurpose this content rather than directly reposting it, as I just said earlier. So aim to tweak specific elements of the reel in order to make it slightly different from the original. For example, like from the original video, you could change the hook, you could change the editing, you could change the caption, you could change the audio, etc. The element you tweak, of course, is gonna depend on the specific style of content that you're posting with. But really the whole point, guys, is like you've already posted a reel that's performed well in the past. So you already have the proof of concept that it's a good reel, your followers like it, that Instagram likes it and has pushed it in the past. So what you're doing is, instead of just reposting that same exact one into trial reels, which is what the first strategy is, you're gonna take that video, and whether you have the file still, whether in your like editing software, then it makes it a lot easier because you could go up and just like change the little details. But you could even just find the same exact video. Maybe you have it stored somewhere, and then like the video or the quote or the image, whatever it is, depending on your content style, you're gonna wanna get that, like the main piece of why it went viral the first time, and just change like little details of it. So as I keep saying, guys, the elements and things that you change is gonna depend on your style of content. I'll give you a couple of practical examples like right now. But yeah, let me just show you right now, because it's gonna be easier than me trying to explain this to you, right? So for example, again, with Prince. So let's just say like he's had this video go viral, 4.6 million views, right? So what he could do is, instead of reposting this exact reel, like everything word for word, exactly how it is right now, onto trial reels, he could go back, grab this exact reel, and for example, if he has this still in his sort of editing software, he could like change the hook, right, to something different. Maybe he could change the background music and change the caption up a bit, and then put it into trial reels, right? So that way it's sort of tweaked from the original version, which allows it to have like a fresh new touch and feel fresh in the algorithm. And then you get to sort of compare and contrast the data between that one and this one, and that could give him some new interesting insights as to what's performing better and what's not, right? Right, so he could do the same for that video. You could scroll down and keep doing that for a lot of these other videos, right? So instead of like having to worry about finding like a new viral piece of content like this, he could find the same exact video, change up the hook, add a different background music, change up the caption, and then it's boom. It's like a new piece of content. Put it into trial reels and let it do its thing, right? Because it allows you to, with minimal effort, be able to expand your reach and expand your followers, or maximize them. okay? And then if we're looking at a different content style, this is another one of my clients. His name is Kevin. He does like quotes, right? Stoicism quotes, masculinity, like these sorts of things, right? So obviously it's a different sort of content style, but you know, let's just say, I don't know, let's find like a really high performing reel from him. I don't want to keep scrolling, but let's just say this one, right? 213K. So for example, the first strategy would be him literally reposting this exact reel, everything being the same, into trial reels. But with the second strategy, he could go and take pretty much this exact same image and put a different quote on it, right? Like a similar quote, but different quote. Maybe change up the background music into something different, and maybe change up the captions the same way I said last time. Or he could keep the same quote, but put a different image and then change the music and put a different caption, right? So all you're doing is really just tweaking and adjusting the original viral reel that you had performed well with, and tweaking it to make it feel more fresh, feel more new, and putting it into the trial reels section, right, for non-followers, okay? So this is another strategy that you guys could apply, again, literally right after this video, to start maximizing your reach and your followers through your content on Instagram, okay? So the last strategy that I want to go over with you guys here is split testing with new content, okay? So when you create a new piece of content, download it, but also at the same time, download multiple variations or versions of the same piece of content, okay? So again, tweak specific elements of each version of the new reel in order to make it slightly different from the original. So let me break down in a way that you guys can understand this, all right? So for example, let's just say you make your reel, right? You know, say you've got a clip, you got subtitles, you got your caption, you got your audio, you got the hook. Again, these elements are going to depend on the specific content style that you're posting with. And like normally people would just download this reel. They would be like, okay, done, edited my reel, and now I'm just going to like schedule it or post it, right? But instead of just doing, and then they wipe out their file, right, for when they're editing it. But instead of just doing that, what you guys could do is once you've already done like the heavy lifting and have created the video or created the reel, what you could do is download that reel, but then go back into it and change a couple different elements, all right? Or test one variable at a time, or change one variable at a time in order to effectively track the data the best, all right? So for example, in the next version of the reel, you could keep the clip the same, you could keep the caption the same, the audio the same, and the hook the same, but maybe edit it a little differently, right? So when I say editing, this can mean having maybe like a little different filter on the video, or cutting it at different spots, or extending it to go off like a few more seconds than the original one, or for example, changing the font of the text or making a different text effect, changing something with the editing, right? And then downloading that version. And then going back to the original version and then doing the same clip, same editing, same caption, but instead use a different audio, right? And then the same hook. And then go back to that original version and then same clip, same editing, same caption, same audio, but maybe change the hook, make that different from the original one, right? And now, once you do that and you download all 4 of those versions, instead of just ending up with one, as you would have if you just did it regularly, now you have 4 different reels. Like, yes, they're the same. They're essentially, effectively, almost exactly the same, but they're slightly different, right? Because maybe the editing is a little different, maybe the audio is a little different, maybe the hook's a little different, right? So you have 4 variations or versions of the same reel. I think that's the best way to say it, okay? And with that being said, now you have 4 reels instead of 1. So then, again, and like I said earlier, guys, these elements will depend on the style of your content. So download each of these versions, post the original version, like the one you made first, as a normal reel, and the other 3 as trial reels, okay? So now instead of having one piece of content sort of just working for you and bringing views and bringing followers, you have 4 pieces of content working for you and bringing reels and bringing followers. But 3 of them are in trial reels, whereas 1 of them is on your regular feed, right? Obviously, you don't want to post all 4 on your regular like reels feed, because then your followers are going to be like, what the fuck? Why did he just post like 4 of the exact same reel, right? Whereas if you're putting them into trial reels, it's like you're just going to a new audience. People interested in the type of content that you're posting, but who aren't already following you, right? So it allows you to 4x the reach and followers that you're able to get with minimal effort. Like, yes, you have to go and like, you know, change a couple things here, but the bulk of the work is just making the like original first reel. It doesn't take too much time to go and like, you know, add a different audio and download that, or add a different hook and download that, right? And there's no need to space them out as well, guys, because you know with regular reels, You want to space it out by 2 hours at least. So for example, if you post 3 reels per day, you could post at like, 12, 2, and then 4. But with trial reels, like you could post the original reel and then post the other 3 all at the same time in the trial reels, right? It doesn't matter. You don't need to space them out. Instagram doesn't detect any spam or any weird stuff with that, okay? So essentially what this allows you to do, guys, is quadruple your output with minimal input. So quadruple the amount of reach and followers you're able to get with minimal work, just changing a couple things with your reels and having to download a few versions and then like draft them up yourself, right? Yes, it does take a little work. It takes a few minutes, but it allows you to quadruple your output, which definitely makes it worth it. And this allows you to gain followers across all 4 reels rather than just one, like I said earlier. And it allows you to split test and analyze data across all 4 reels in order to better understand what's working and what's not working, right? So of course, on top of being able to get more reach and more followers from posting all 4 of these instead of just one, you're also able to compare and contrast the data of these 4 different versions and variations, right? So pretty much after a few days, you could go and look back at the reel on your regular feed, see the data and the numbers and the performance of it, and then compare and contrast it to these other 3, right? Because, for example, maybe this version 4 is the one that performs best in the trial reels, right? And then you could look at it and be like, okay, well, the only difference of this one compared to the other ones was the hook. So what about this hook specifically caught my viewers' attentions, or caught like the audience's attention and made them want to watch more and increase the watch time and get more engagement, whatever, right? And it allows you to like find that piece of data that you wouldn't have known otherwise if you hadn't had done this test, okay? And like I said earlier, guys, the better you could find those patterns, the better you could identify what's working and what's not working, then you could double down on what is working, which is allows you to exponentialize the growth of your page and really get that momentum, okay? So that is like the last strategy that I kind of wanted to go over with you guys here. And let me just give you one last practical example. This one is on one of my pages, Entrepreneurs Archived. And for example, let's say I don't edit these reels, of course. I've got better things to do, or more important things to do. I'll have my editor make one version of this reel, right? Makes it just as usual, done. And then instead of just downloading that reel and being done, he will make another variation of the hook here, okay? So one version with this hook, one version with like a different hook, right? And then on top of that, he'll make a third version, which is like the same as the first hook, but with a different background sound, right? And then he'll make a fourth version with like a different font potentially, or a different sort of like text animation. And now he's turned, instead of just having one reel after putting in the work and editing it, he has 4 reels from just tweaking and changing like little elements of it, okay? And he'll post this regular reel into the main reels feed, and then the other 3 in trial reels. So that way all 4 are running at all times, gaining me followers, gaining me reach. And then of course, I could see which ones are performing best. Like for example, like if this happened to be the one that was posted like as the original one, right? But let's just say this one didn't perform well, but the one in the trial reels, like one of those versions performed well and got like hundreds of thousands or millions of views. What I could do is just remove this one from my reels feed and then instead bring that one from trial reels over to my regular reels feed. That way my followers get to see it and continues to really just compound that growth, all right? And then again, yeah, it also allows me the opportunity to compare and contrast the data and figure out like why this one performed better than the other ones, which allows me to better understand my audience, my page, and what works best, okay? So yeah, that is essentially how you guys can use trial reels to your advantage. Like I said, this is not something that a lot of people are talking about or even know about. So by using this to your advantage, it allows you to give you a huge competitive edge over other creators on Instagram, just get more output, more reach, more followers, and just crush the competition at the end of the day. That's what I want for you guys, all right? So yeah, aside from that, this is just one of the few strategies that me and my clients are using on Instagram to just allow us to separate ourselves from, let's say, the other like regular mid-theme pages and get crazy results. So if you want to learn more on how you can leverage trial reels, analyze your data and just learn other strategies that allow you to grow and make money more effectively with Instagram, and overall you just want to follow a proven blueprint that's already worked for hundreds of others rather than just doing your trial and error and making mistakes that waste your time, I have opened a few more slots for my one-on-one mentoring. You could take a look in the top of the description if you want to check it out for yourself. I only work with a few people a month, so it's very hands-on. It's not like a shitty like copy and paste course that a lot of these other people are selling. So yeah, if you feel like that would be helpful for you and allow you to reach your goals more effectively with Instagram, go ahead, take a look. I'm sure it'll help you out. And aside from that, guys, I hope this video was valuable. I hope that it gave you some new insight on something that you could, again, take right after watching this and apply right now to get results. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section, if anything wasn't clear. That way I could clear it up for you. And also, if you enjoyed the video, just feel free to drop a like, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. But aside from that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.